getting her. Trey, tell me something good. Besides,
Some,
tell me something good, something fabulous, something funny, so whatever.
I stay home all day. I work out of home. Actually, okay. Achua has been house trained. We adopted a puppy last year, and he's finally turned the corner, and he's now house trained and not shitting in the house. So that's good.
That is good.
That is good. That is good. And I also like your what's the word that I'm looking at? Your rather loose interpretation of the word adopted.
Yeah,
You
adopted. He
don't,
was given to us. Our neighbor.
again, a lot of loose.
Well, okay. Our neighbor.
he was forked upon Draina's husband.
Yeah, moved into a new house. And we had a neighbor who had a dog in their backyard, and our backyard's matched, and there was a hole in the fence, and the dog would come and play with our two dogs, and we thought it was great. And then the neighbor stopped it, saying, "Well, our dogs wound their dog up too much, and it bothered their cat." Now, the living situation is kind of weird. I'm not sure how many people live there. There's someone living in a shed out in the backyard. We moved from Texas to Illinois, and I think we've
I'm
moved into
loving
like,
this already.
oh yeah. So the next door neighbor who
The whole situation is fraught, Stephen.
So the neighbor who looks like she knows her way around a meth needle knocked on our door one morning, and she's talked to my husband Bill, but not really me. And I opened the door, hello. She goes, "Is the other one there?" Literally, is the other one there? And Bill
is the
comes
man
out.
of the house at home.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll make that joke every time you tell this story.
Yes. And so she was like, "Yeah, can you take care of our dogs?" We're like, "Okay." So we adopted this 8-year-old puppy, and he's finally turned the corner. He's a really sweet dog, really good guy.
And the thing to note there, Stephen, is that it's an 8-year-old dog who had not been house trained.
Nope. Nope. He had been left either outside all the time or in a crate for 10 hours at a time.
Oh God!
So he never learned how to hold anything.
The new neighbors are bastard people. Yeah.
Yes,
good
they
time.
are. Yeah.
I feel like the real estate agent should have warned you about that. Oh, by the way,
they gave us the dogs, so instead of abandoning them, they did at least one halfway right thing. But everyone else, like the male person and all the neighbors, are really happy that Atua ended up with us because they like the dog. The dog's sweet. So I think we got
they're
points.
all in on it. It's all one of those elaborate 70s TV movie plots. Yes, we have to adopt the devil dog.
Exactly. This stuff starts happening. The other dogs start like getting scared of him or disappearing.
Start wearing cloaks and listening to heavy metal. Steven, tell me something good.
Well, my mom is doing much better.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, she had some health issues about a month ago, but she's doing much better now. And this I don't even know how to describe it. Episodic comedy podcast. Think of like an episodic radio play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like the episode finally the first episode that I'm on finally came out.
The first important episode.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks ago, and then because I'm in episode 2 and 10 out of 10.
Oh wow.
And I recorded them like a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Just now starting to come out.
It's just now starting to come out.
Oh, wow. So I hope it's not all topical jokes.
Yeah.
They never were really, although I did listen to episode 2 when it came out, and I now understand why actors like don't remember what happened on shows that they were on. He was like, I don't know, I recorded that a year ago, and I see, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, I think there were more lines, and then like 20 minutes later in the episode, oh yeah.
Excuse me, I thought I was more featured.
and
You're
then,
pulling a Tina Louise. I thought it was called Stevens Island.
and so that happened, and like I said, yeah. So, oh yeah, and I totally misread the setting of the piece. I totally did not remember it set where it is.
Okay.
Oh,
Because apparently it's set in St. Louis.
okay.
For some reason, I totally thought it was in California.
Oh,
Show ruined. That's why it took a year. They had edited around. Like, I don't think he knows where this is happening. All right, let's do a show.
okay.
Okay. Trey, you know the drill. Steven, if you happen to lose connection and you get dropped, just refresh the page and come back. We don't lose anything. Everything's cool. If I disappear, just hang out here. I will come back.
Worst comes to worst, this is the only browser window that I have open, so no sounds coming from any other pages. And I have the link to this like on Notepad. So if worst comes to worst, I can get back here without having to go through Facebook.
Cool story. Okay, great. What else is there? I think Steven, since you're the new addition, I will bring you on second.
Okay. I can mention that I'm the founder of the Don Knotts Appreciation Society.
I'm
yes?
already. Do you think I'm not going to put that in your intro?
Just under 600 members. I checked this morning.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
It's the day before Easter. He might be coming back tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow might be the Great Knots Landing. Save it for the show. Okay, all right. We're going quiet for 10 seconds.
Want me to count you in?
Yes.
Okay.
In a minute, my Murphy.
Oh,
Let me just make sure I got everything. Okay. Trading. Please count me in. Well, this is going to be a horrible show now, Trey. We don't need that kind of negativity, especially on a Don Knotts special. Okay, all right. So normally around the winter holidays, I like to have what I call the Jesus Christ, what do I call it? You know what? I'll fix all this in post. I'm just going to introduce you, Trey. All right.
Wait. Is it recording?
You know what? It's not.
Okay. Cool. Just
Wow.
noticed that. I just noticed the countdown wasn't there.
Oh, all right. Okay, yes. I remember now what I called. It's going to be one of these days. Stop it. Count me in, Trey. That's much nicer. So normally around the winter holidays, I like to have what I call the mildly inappropriate holiday special, where I talk about a movie that really has nothing to do with the holidays or the regular theme of Scream Queens. But there were some circumstances that we couldn't record at the time. But you know what? It's my birthday, so we're having the wildly inappropriate birthday party right now. And to do that, I have two very special guests. The first, you already know him. You love him. He's that man formerly from Texas. He's my co-host over at Dammy Wonka Lewis. And he looks great in a coconut bra. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls at my GNCs, wherever you may be, please welcome back to the Scream Queens microphone, the fabulous Trey Dean.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
I'm fabulous, Trey.
Good to hear that. Looking fabulous.
Thank you. So what's the cup size on your coconut bra? I can't really tell.
Oh, it is a big old A cup.
But listen, listeners, if you're going to put a lime in his coconut and shake it all up, please get consent first.
Exactly. Or just get me drunk. It's an inappropriate holiday special. I'm making up
Mildly inappropriate.
Mildly. Okay.
Mildly
Then get me
inappropriate.
buzzed. Then get me just a little bit buzzed.
Oh, okay. You didn't have an edible first? That's normally your turn.
No, I'm clear-headed when I record.
Really?
Usually.
Wow.
I'm just kind of, yeah. I could take one next time. You can see the before and after.
Please. Okay, you know what? We have another guest sitting here way in the wings. He is a longtime friend of mine. He is an accomplished character actor. He is an outstanding member of the Russians of Din, and he is the founder of the Don Knotts Appreciation Society. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome back, because it's been a long time, the fabulous Mr. Stephen Wagner.
Hello. How are you this fine day?
I'm very good, Stephen. How are you?
Excellent. I'm all good. And by the way, I'd just like to point out that I'm never clear-headed when I record. I'm completely sober, but not clear-headed.
I don't think I've ever seen you sober, like ever. I wouldn't know who you were. All right. So I mentioned Stephen. Tell me about this Don Knotts Appreciation Society.
Well, it is a group on Facebook where we literally do what the title says. We appreciate Don Knotts, and we have some fun. And if you want, if people who want to post fun stuff about Don Knotts or anything Knotts related, including the Great Knotts Landing, which I imagine we'll talk about at some point in the future.
Well, I think we might as well get rid of it now, because the movie that we're talking about today is The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, starring the aforementioned Don Knotts.
Don Knotts.
Yeah, Steve and I have been talking about how we can start our own religion, kind of like a L. Ron Hubbard Dianetic sort of thing, like our own little Church of Scientology. Let's elevate Don Knotts to a god, because let's face it, he is.
Yeah, he is.
So if you note here, if you don't find what Patrick said just now funny, the Don Knotts Appreciation Society Facebook group is not for you.
No, because if you didn't find it funny, but instead found it deeply inspiring, then it's definitely the place for you.
Well, then it's for you too. But if you were just flatline on it, not for you.
Definitely not for you. If you like. I mean, the thing is, this is my birthday episode, but we're recording it the day before Easter. So I'm just saying, we've been waiting for Don as Donatologists. We're awaiting the second coming of Don Knotts, as we like to call the Knotts Landing. So it might be tomorrow. I mean, Don Knotts is the kind of guy who could steal Jesus' thunder. Oh God, I'm losing so many lessons by the second. Or am I gaining followers? Or is Don? I don't know. Anyway.
All you're saying is it could happen.
We could all use little Don Knotts right now. If ever a time in American history we need Don Knotts, it's right now.
Well, I believe we're about to get some.
We're about to get a whole face full of Don Knotts. We're going to get 90 nonstop minutes of Don Knotts. I don't think there's a scene he's not in this movie.
Right.
So.
I can't think of one, no.
Actually, I think you're right.
And if there is one, it's stupid. It should be cut.
Well, I thought of one. Alma alone
Get
in the house.
Get out.
Yeah.
Lies.
But the specter of Don Knott looms over everything. And when he's not there, he's there. He's like,
Damn
sorry.
right. Damn right. I got the Don down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. All right. So, Steve, since it's been a while since you've been here on Scream Queens, I need you to give me a nice, tight 30-second encapsulation of the basic plot of The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. The clock is down. No pressure. No panic. Just go. Start talking. What are you waiting for?
Okay. I love this movie, and it's Don Knotts solving crimes in haunted houses, and he's a romantic lead.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Trey, anything you want to add to that, Trey?
Yes, I do. Actually, this was a huge part of my childhood. I love this movie growing up. I haven't seen it since I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And watching this, I would get so many parts where I'm like, oh, I would know what's going to happen. Like 3 or 4 seconds before a punchline hits, I'd remember it. So this movie was like remembering my childhood.
All of a sudden, he's getting this craving for tapioca. And he's like, oh, that's why.
That's why.
I have never seen this before
Oh, wow.
picking it for the show. For some reason, this evaded me. And here's the thing. This is like 9 different... No, I have a list of movies that we've got going on in this one movie. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. It's Rear Window. It's Pleasantville. It's The Music Man. It's His Girl Friday. It's The Front Page. It's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's The Crucible. It's House on Haunted Hill. Scooby-Doo. Rebecca. And Gaslight. All rolled into one.
It's all of those.
It's
yes.
a lot.
Yeah. So and the thing that really makes this movie sing is that it's not just Don Knotts being great. The whole cast, top to bottom, is just
Yes.
this bevy of incredibly skilled character actors who you've seen in everything,
Yes. Yes, it is.
and they are
Very much
all on
so.
their A game.
Oh
They are.
yeah,
They are.
they are grabbing you and pulling you in from the very beginning.
I want to see like all these other side characters split up in their little movies because they're all really interesting.
Concur. And I asked when I was going to the IMDb, I wound up what's the word I'm looking for? Delegating parts of it out to both of the guests here because there's 9,000 characters in this movie, and all of them are so accomplished. All their IMDb's were like pages long.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a treat of a little movie. It's completely inoffensive. The other thing that I forgot to mention, it's all these movies. It's a thriller. It's a haunted house comedy. It's a law. It's a legal battle. It's a small town romance, but it's also the most erotic film you could ever possibly watch.
What?
Because Don Knotts has so many filthy lines, and I'm like, oh yeah, bring it back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
my favorite though is not spoken by him.
It's
is
not spoken by him.
My favorite is delivered by a different actor, not Don Knotts, in this movie.
Okay. Well, since I didn't give my encapsulation of the film, I would have to say it's the story about two mean gays who just try to keep who run the town newspaper, who just won't let the guy who sets the printing press have his day as a star reporter.
Yes. Two mean girls.
Two mean gays.
Yeah.
They are the
Yeah.
mean gays. Thank you.
They are the mean gays.
And I can say that because one of them definitely is, because it's Gay Darren from Bewitched.
Yep.
And the other one is 100% abusive. The character.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the actor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah. Ollie.
But that character, Ollie, is 100% abusive.
Yeah. He is just without
When
any.
he is the fact that he is shocked. I mean, visibly shocked when he is told, "You don't own me."
Who just hates Don Knotts on sight, on principle.
Well, clearly evil right there. Clearly
Yes.
evil. Clearly an evil person. What else I think is great? It's about these two mean gays because they're like the thing that's weird about this town is that everybody is 60 and over except for like 4 people.
I didn't catch that until you mentioned it.
There are no kids in this town except when they need kids for single shots. There are no kids living in this town. They import kids to throw at Don Knotts every now and then. But so you have the two mean gays. You got this Ollie and Beckett.
Yes.
Played by Dick Sargent. And even Dick Sargent's like, you know what? Ollie's not for me. The more he comes in contact with Don Knotts, the more he starts to fall for him. Until he finally realizes that Don Knotts is in love with Alma. And he's like, I can't be around you anymore.
And just leaves.
Yeah. I just wish I could quit you. There's so many levels working in this movie. Okay. But on the most obvious one, it's a haunted house comedy. And
Yes.
we start off, like Steven said, we were talking before we started recording. He's like, this movie wastes no time. You know exactly what kind of movie it is as soon as it starts. Steven, take it away. Tell me what you were telling me before we started recording.
Well, I was just making sure all my equipment was working and my recording equipment was working and everything. So started to move from the beginning, and right even before the Universal logo, it's the Bewitched theme. It's the beginning of the Bewitched theme.
Yeah.
And then you go from there, and the movie starts with just it's Don riding into town, driving into town, and then immediately the town drunk gets hit over the head with a 2x4, falls to the ground, and there's a woman screaming murder from her upstairs window, right at the beginning of the film.
And also, the music is this very 60s, like, I'm playing it underneath. This funky little sneaky fun comedy, but you know exactly what movie you're in for if you have no idea what the plot is. But I have to correct you on that one because yes, he does. Oh, think he witnesses. Oh, first of all, where are we? We're in Rachel, Indiana. Is that the town?
Rachel, Kansas.
Rachel, Kansas.
Right.
We're in Rachel, Kansas, and it's a town where It's a town at a time where alcoholism, domestic abuse, and sexual harassment are hilarious.
They
Because
are.
Because it's 1966.
clearly this character is patterned after Otis, the town drunk
Yeah.
from the Andy Griffith Show.
It's the same actor.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, okay. We got a little ahead of ourselves. Well, not so much, but the writer and directors, Alan Rapkin, the director, and the writers, James Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum, they all wrote for Andy Griffith, and Don Knotts approached them when he was leaving, wrote the screenwriter and said, "Can you write me a script now that I'm leaving this?" And they said yes, and Andy Griffith got involved in everything. Everybody jumped on board. So all these bit players, a lot of them are from Andy Griffith or related to they just got a whole bunch of friends that were really comfortable working together and made a movie.
You could even say this is like a long episode of the Andy Griffith Show with just a little bit of editing, and it would almost feel right. Like Don Knotts is playing, the same character played Andy Griffith, almost Barney Fife, very Barney Fife-ish.
I nip that in the bud, Trey D. Nip it in the bud. It's not. He is nowhere near. He is so sexually free. In this movie, he's not playing second fiddle to nobody.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
I mean, there's definitely shades of Mr. Furley in this as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen his even before Andy Griffith, there's some clips on YouTube of his character, the nervous guy. That's pretty much his character here. They're very funny. They're very funny.
Yeah.
You know what? I just realized if somebody out there doesn't know, guys, who is Don Knotts?
Oh, I'll let you take that, Steven.
Ooh. I don't
The dog
even
knows.
know how to answer that.
Mickey knows. He's my favorite. He's the god to my people.
Well, he clearly, he is, as is referenced in one of his other films, he is the love god.
Basically,
which fares much, much better than the love guru.
Yes.
Which was terrible.
Yes.
But like I said, Don Knotts is like this tall, gangly, bug-eyed beanpole of a guy. He's not. He's like Eddie Deason of the 50s.
Yeah, I can see that.
A little bit.
Without the rape, but
yes. Yeah.
And with a lot more sexual magnetism.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. No, just longtime comedy genius. But finally, this was his first film, and it's adorable. So I have to say that yes, he witnesses what he thinks is a murder in the first few seconds of the film. But I have to correct Stephen because he said that this man was beaten with a 2x4, which it was not what happened because Don Knotts clearly says it was a 2x4. It's a 2x4.
So it has to be 4. Well, also, I think the opening scene really brilliantly also kind of sets a precedent that we're going to have side characters who are going to be just as good as Don Knotts, because you got the old lady saying, "I saw him and he got hit, bam, right over the head." She just keeps repeating that.
Like her timing with repeating it is great.
And she doesn't repeat it too much, just one or two times, and you got the idea, and that's it.
To be fair, like she goes over the comic rule of 3 with them.
Yes.
Yes, she does.
I'm playing the audience so they'll understand. But what I thought was great about this is that every time she said bang right in the head, whenever she said bang, the flash on Don Knotts' cameras went off. I'm like, this.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful organized chaos right in the opening of this in the movie, and it's very funny. And it doesn't need to be here. It just
No. Yeah, it's just, the supporting cast really adds so much to this movie. Everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what else is sets up that we learn from this is that he works for the newspaper. He wants to be a reporter, and now he thinks he's witnessed a crime. So he thinks, this is his big break. So he goes running to I guess it's the police station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police station.
He has the old woman call his boss at the newspaper
Right.
and tell them all to meet him
Okay.
at the police station.
Okay. But yeah, so then he's trying to tell them the whole story, and the town the sheriff on duty says, "All right." I just blanked at his name.
Luther?
All right, Luther, give it to me nice and slow. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy gets it.
That's where we
Luther
start.
can do that. Luther can do that.
Oh, sure he can. But yeah, it turns out that he didn't see a murder. It was just it was the town drunk and his wife hit him with a two. It was hilarious domestic abuse and alcoholism. Like
rolled into one.
Rolled into one. Good stuff. And everyone's just like, oh, those two. They're going to murder each other one day. Oh.
It's so adorable.
I do enjoy, though, how the drunk that got hit on the head is the one that winds up in jail.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, you can see where it's going because he's talking about it, and the drunk stumbles in, and you know it's going to be, and he looks at the drunk and goes, "You're supposed to be dead." And even though I knew it was going to happen, it was still funny. Like, you can see some of these jokes coming a mile away, but they're so
funny.
Land. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I don't think I laughed out loud the whole movie, but I had a big goofy grin on. It's that kind of a movie.
I chuckled a few times.
Look, at the end of the day, the whole thing, in addition to being very funny, is wholesome. There's, it's one of those movies where it's like, there's not really going to be anything scary in it. There's, you can watch it with your kids. You can show it to your kids.
Yeah, because even if your kids are afraid of things, like, despite the name of the movie and the way it's marketed, it's this haunted house comedy, there's very little ghost stuff in this. Like, not even pretend. It's a very small part of the plot. It's much more of a love story and this gripping courtroom drama. But that's okay. Because you're populated with this fabulous cast of crazy people. Tell me about who's at this boarding house that he lives at.
Oh, you got these two old ladies who are they're not in the movie enough, but they just, Mrs. Hutchinson and Mrs. Cobb. And they're just like always trying to one-up each other the whole time. And so just watching them try and like just outdo each other is a thing of beauty. And then also, does Ollie live in the boarding house as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Because this is a world with boarding
that was unclear to me whether he lived there or not. I just went there for breakfast.
Yeah.
He's also dating Mrs. Cobb.
Oh, Ollie gets around.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, he's gay. He's dating that silent old guy who just who never said anything.
the flashlight guy?
Aggressively quiet guys. Like, I've been here for 20 years. I haven't gotten a word in edgewise with these two, so I'm giving up trying. That guy. No, these two old women are among my favorite characters in the movie. They are an absolute hoot. And it's a lot of inside of their lines aren't funny. Particularly Mrs. Hutchinson, played by Jessalyn Fax. Her face is just funny.
They even use Bonami. I love that line.
I don't know. And that's that is there to the end.
Yes.
That joke keeps coming back.
Yes.
So I wonder how much they got paid by Comet to shit on Bonami the whole movie, because clearly Bonami can't get the important stains out.
Yeah. If you have a blood stain you clean up, don't use Bonami.
Yeah, don't use it on your organ.
It doesn't work.
Do not use it on your organ.
No, yeah. Don't use it to get the stains off your organ.
No. But from them we get the backstory of the Simmons house.
Yes.
Gentlemen, tell me what went on 20 years ago tomorrow night at the Simmons house.
Do you mean the murder house?
The murder house.
Yes, that would be the one.
Because I'm not sure if growing up the phrase murder house was ever used as much as it was in this movie. But apparently the owner at that point, who has left the house has gone through whatever legal ramifications there are, and now is in the possession of his nephew.
Who is
had-
not the chief from Get Smart?
No,
No, no,
Looks a lot like him, but it's not.
it does.
And 20 years ago tomorrow, in the milieu of the movie, the timeline of the movie,
Did he just say milieu? Did you say
I
milieu?
did.
I'm
Man.
like, ooh. Please continue.
got into a huge fight with his wife and stabbed her to death with an unknown object. And then went upstairs to the I'll make sure I get this right, the organ loft,
Of course, as one has.
and played the organ for a while maniacally, and then threw himself out the window.
Yep.
Yes, a horrible murder-suicide. Yes, it's an organ loft because if you have a gigantic pipe organ, you want to haul it up 5 flights of stairs.
Oh yeah.
Well, clearly he didn't do that. He paid someone to do that.
Well, clearly, but it's the most logical place to put an organ. And I don't care. It's a haunted house movie. Let's go for it. Yeah. But that sets up this whole thing at the newspaper office. This thing's going on at the newspaper office. Because tell me about, what does he do? What does Don Knotts do at the newspaper?
He's the typesetter.
He's a
Him
typesetter.
and yeah, typesetter.
And we're getting very close to the first of my favorite side characters from this movie.
Oh, the janitor.
Are you talking about Mr. Kelsey?
I am.
The Iago of the movie?
The Irish Iago of the movie. 'Cause
Yes.
you have to have an Irishman or a Scotsman because they're also going to be the former groundskeeper / gardener at the murder house.
Of course, of course.
No, but everything that happens in the plot, every major thing in the plot has been Iago whispered by this janitor.
And he's great, and I love him. From the
Yes.
minute he steps on screen, I love
Oh
him.
yeah.
Yeah, and that is veteran character actor Liam Redmond, who you might remember, horror folks, was in Night of the Demon with
Curse of the Demon is the one that I
it's the same
saw.
movie. It's
Oh, it is?
It's the same.
Also, the
One of the
Diplomatic
British-
Corpse.
The automatic corpse. Dan Andrews with sorry. Yeah, Curse of the Demon and Night of the Demon is the same movie. The British cut does not have the special effect at the end with the demon. The American cut does. They said Americans can't figure this out on their own. We need to give them a Godzilla demon.
But I love him. The minute he steps on screen, I'm loving it.
What I love
Because he does the thing where he doesn't talk to the camera, but he's also not facing Don Knotts.
Yeah.
Who's the only other person in the room. He's kind of off on that like oblique angle, just speaking.
Yes, and whoever's in the room with him thinks it's their idea because it's the janitor. It's invisible. It's a whole It's a whole lesson in classism right there.
Yep.
Maintenance staff, invisible people. Yeah, just even in Rachel. What I love too at a certain point, mean gay number 2, Dick Sargent, comes bursting in. He's like, Luther, I need a 3-inch filler. I'm like,
I mean, I would think that that like if you're going to ask for it, you'd ask for more.
Well, yeah. It's early morning. It's just started off,
Well, also it makes me look at Ollie and go, oh, this is why you're mean.
Yeah.
Very small penis. And also, he doesn't know what Don's packing. That's all he's going to find out. He's not in love with Don yet, because once you get a taste of Luther, you can't get enough. Because his name is Luther Heggs.
Luther Heggs. Heggs.
Yeah, Luther Heggs. And Heggs rhymes with segs. And segs is Facebook code for sex now, so you don't get the bots to pay. It's all right there. It's all right there in the script. It says this man is a sex god.
So Luther is the Heggs machine?
The Higgs boson, if you will.
Before we go too far down the character actor list, please tell me about Alma.
Alma is the youngest woman in the town, single, who is
No,
seeing
no, you can stop. The youngest
That's it.
woman in the town.
in the town. There you go. Single, kind of dating Ollie, or everyone just accepts the fact that she's dating Ollie, assumes it. She's pretty, she's nice, she's there.
She clearly right from the beginning, like you don't notice it right away,
Yeah.
but right from the beginning they're setting up that she has some sort of affection
Yes,
not, I don't want to say attraction, but she likes Luther.
she likes Luther Heggs.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I loved Alma, actually. I
did
think
too.
it was a really interesting character, and I think it's a great, the actress, Jean Staley. Great choice. I didn't recognize much of what she was in, but I just noticed like the bulk of her work was between 1960 and 1968, and in that time she did 65 different projects. That is an immense
Yeah.
amount of work.
Yeah.
And she's lovely. She's charming, and she's not playing like 1960s dopey girl.
No.
No, she's
the
not at
Audrey
all,
girl.
which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, at
she's a
first-
fully formed woman in this town of all people.
I mean, at very first, she came across to me in that one scene where she's sitting in the car, waiting for I guess
Ollie.
Ollie. Yeah.
She came across a little Holly Golightly with "I love the sun," and she's
Yeah.
Setting her
But you're right. It's a fully formed character.
and that 295 top she has on from the whatever.
Oh yeah, it's a nice pattern. Well, I mean, she's in her convertible. She honks the horn for Ollie to come out to see her. The landlady comes out. Why don't you come and join us for breakfast? She's like, no, I'm just enjoying the sun. And then everyone compliments on her blouse, but she seems like she's a very independent woman.
She also knows if she goes in that house, she's going to get cut in a conversation that goes on for 7 hours.
Yes.
Not going that
Nobody's getting where they need to go if she goes
No.
into that conversation.
No. No, and I think it's cute that the only person that thinks those two are dating is Ollie. Like nobody.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of the town and even the audience at that point are still okay with that because we haven't seen him be really abusive to anybody yet.
Not yet. And I will say, Ollie could get it. He looked kind of like a 60s version of Greg Kinnear. Little dent in his chin and very attractive but kind of bland or just very generic. But even he,
Yeah,
he had personality.
He's that 40s, 50s like leading man look.
Yes.
He's got the hair done right for that. He's got the suit. He's got
Well,
But
because
go. The actor had kind of a nothing role, but I thought the actor did a really good job of being charismatic. And I could see why Alma would initially be attracted to Ollie. He seems like he's a fun guy unless you're Luther Heggs.
right.
right.
Well,
Well,
that pretty much goes for a lot of the town.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this film.
yeah. Well, yeah, and also it's just that Don Knotts is not your typical romantic lead, so you need
No.
someone that is that.
Well, and
Contrast
it's also
him, and that's exactly what you get. And also, and he's awful, and he's an awful person. He's gay, and he has a small dick. Surprise! Spoiler.
Yeah. But also, everyone in the town thinks that Luther Heggs is kind of a joke. It's not just Ollie. The boarding home seems to be kindly to him, but they also seem to realize he's a little bit nervous or keyed up. So it kind of just through line that no one takes him seriously. No one takes Luther Heggs seriously in the
But
town.
they all love him. Like nobody.
Yeah, they like him. They like him. But
Most of them do.
most of them do.
The newspaper guys, not so much.
But I got to bring
That's
up.
because they're the mean gays. They have to
Yeah.
stand that everywhere he goes, especially as the movie goes on, everybody loves Luther wherever he goes.
Oh yeah, but actually, Patrick, I do gotta say, you asked about this movie. There's one connection I do have to this movie that a relative of mine is in this movie.
Oh, really?
One of my cousins on my grandmother's side is Jim Bowles, a character actor, and he's these two guys who just kind of pick on Luther a little bit, especially in the beginning. Like,
Oh, yeah, I know the guys you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
One of them is my uncle, Jim Bowles.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So growing up, this movie always had a little bit of a importance to me because my grandmother showed it to me because one of her relatives was in it, and there you go.
See, Steve, we just got 1 degree of separation closer to Don Knotts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing on this blessing of a day.
Yeah.
My favorite character in the whole thing is Mrs. Maxwell.
I love her.
Oh my God! Yes.
Halcyon. Her first name is Halcyon. That's so perfect when they drop that.
She is played by. Oh yeah, go see.
Yeah, she's played by Rita Shaw, and is one of the people in this movie. Because I have to assume that the title of this film is a play on The Ghost of Mrs. Muir.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Because this wasn't the first. This wasn't the first. The first title was called Running Scared, and they couldn't get a hold of that. And somebody said, "Hey, Ghost of Mrs. Muir is popular. Let's do that." Fuck you, Hope Lang.
So Rita Shaw is one of the people that was in this movie, but also in The Ghost of Mrs. Muir.
Yes.
Also Bewitched and Mary Poppins.
Anne Hagatha on Bewitched.
Yeah.
And she was in Mary Poppins, Pollyanna.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot.
She is serving ukulele shin, Music Man, bulldog lady realness.
Yes. Grand Dame of the small town.
Her, Hermione Gingold, and Elsa Lanchester were probably always up for the same roles. That's what I'm guessing. That is the energy she has. And she's glorious. She is just this unstoppable, like I said, bulldog tank of a woman who not only is the wife of the bank, but what society is she the president of?
The Occult Society of Rachel, Kansas? Something like that.
Yes, the Rachel Occult Society. It's the Rachel Women's Masturbation Society is what it is. There's no men in this organization.
Nope.
And this is all of their dialogue.
Which is very reminiscent of
Steven.
It's very to me it was very reminiscent of the suffragettes in Mary Poppins.
One Grecian urn and Music Man. very bad, like I said.
But
yes, absolutely.
She is brilliant in this.
She's so funny. And I like her. She's not off. She's annoying, but she's not off-putting.
Oh, she's the person you want on your side because she's just going to steamroll over anybody in your way. I loved her. But yeah, she's all about, I prefer manifestations. Talking about the organization, one of my favorite lines was, whoever she's talking about, she's like, she came home last night and she vibrated for an hour. I
bet she did.
That's it. That's my favorite line from the movie. She came home last night and vibrated for half an hour. I wrote it down. It's when the nephew who now owns the house and wants to sell it goes back to the bank, which is run by Mr. Maxwell.
Yeah.
And
bang. Maxwell. So
and they had a seance at home, and so they're talking about her, and he literally says she came home last night and vibrated for half an hour.
And the great scene where we first meet her, where they're having breakfast with the husband, and she's convincing him to like delay the demolishment of the house, and the husband's like, yes, dear. She's like, eat your tapioca. Eat your tapioca.
This is a world where tapioca and Jell-O are both appropriate desserts. But no. Steven, hold on. Steven, you're breaking up. You might want to turn your camera off. That will help with your connection.
There you go. Okay.
Is
that it? No,
and stay out. Yes. Yeah, still struggling, but as long as the sound is okay, we'll keep going. She had that other wonderful line. She's like, I don't remember the husband's name, but she's like, darling, do you know how long it's been since we've had a local manifestation? Really?
No, it's Milo. Her husband is Milo. Milo. Dear Milo, eat your tapioca, Milo. And then later he's trying to explain to Mr. Simmons why he has to delay everything. He's like, well, you haven't met Halcyon.
This poor man has been able to give his wife an orgasm, and he has to go all the way to Wooster, Ohio to get one.
I don't know. See, Patrick, when she was saying "eat your tapioca," I thought that was code for something.
There was a bowl of tapioca,
and
And there
It's
may have
mildly
been a
inappropriate.
continuity error there because I did not notice the tapioca in front of him. And this may be just me, but I didn't notice it until after she said, "Eat your tapioca."
No, it's there the whole time because the thing that I noticed with this movie, and this is how you know everybody's a pro, there's lots of scenes with people eating. Nobody actually eats. These people are pros at making it look like they're eating without eating. They move shit around on the plate.
Don Knotts did at one point
They'll have it. They'll get all
have
they'll get all the way
noodles
up to the
hanging
mouth
out
and
of his
they'll start
mouth.
talking. Yeah. But they're all really skilled, and that's a TV thing. Like it's good at this. You can't actually eat the food because if you have to eat the food, they have to replace the food every shot. We don't have that kind of a budget. Okay, so all right. So the thing is that all right, we talked about the janitor playing Iago. What idea does he put into Don Knotts' ear?
To spend the night in the Simmons mansion to do a follow-up story. Because
On the 20 yeah.
On the
Well, first
20th.
of all,
First
of all, doesn't he pretty much write the 3-inch filler for Don Knotts for Luther?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't he almost dictate it to him?
Yeah, initially he writes something about the upcoming anniversary of the house. It's just the 3-inch filler, and that gives that technically gives that opens the door for the mean gays to have the idea planted into their head that they should send somebody in to spend the night.
By the janitor. The janitor plants the idea in their head.
Yes.
Because that 3-inch filler is wildly popular in the town.
Well, Rachel, Kansas,
They love a good I mean, come on, what other news
population
stories have
just over 6,300 people.
It's a murder mansion.
Yes, it's wildly popular. So yeah, they're going to send Don Knotts in
to spend the night.
And they think this, the mean gays are doing it to be mean gays. Like, let's send him in.
Yeah. And I love so he's going to be there like 11:30 at night, and he's just sitting there, and everyone's around him. So it's like he's going to execution in the boarding house, and they're all just looking at him. He's just like sitting all alone, staring straight ahead, and they're all looking at him with concern on their face.
Goodbye, Luther.
Well, wait. I think we're glossing over something here.
What?
Yes.
Because he goes to stake it out the night before, and he's walking in front of the house, and all of a sudden the nephew just shows up. Why are you walking in front of my house?
You're right. And the nephew is immediately an asshole.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't know
yeah.
if you don't know who the villain of the piece is, you're an idiot. But it's not that kind of movie. I mean, damn well this is your bad guy. He wants the house torn down. He's mean to everybody for no reason.
Yes.
He sues Don Knotts later in the movie for no reason with a completely frivolous lawsuit, but it doesn't matter because it's still fabulous. But yeah, he's an asshole. They're all asshole. But he very clearly doesn't want anybody going in the house. He doesn't want the story to happen because he just wants it torn down really quick.
Yep. And Don Knotts is getting in the way of that happening.
Don Knotts is a big lanky monkey wrench that gets thrown.
Well, actually, it's Halcyon's getting in the way of it because Halcyon's the one who doesn't let Milo give the money to Mr. Simmons. So yeah.
Right.
What I can't figure out here, though, at this point in the film, is breaking and entering just okay in this town?
Oh, I was telling Pat
because Don Knotts has absolutely no permission from anyone to be inside this house.
Listen, clearly you're not familiar with the laws of the universal backlot.
Oh,
it's their nation. They have their own sovereign nation.
Oh, later on, I want to talk about the way the law works in Rachel, Kansas, because I got questions. I got some questions about the judge, but we'll get to that. We're not there yet.
Let it wash over you. So what happens when Don Knotts stays the night in this spooky old house?
It's first he goes into the basement, and then a little Victrola covered in the coal chute. You're right. He goes into the coal chute. I'm sorry. You're right.
He falls through the front porch.
The coal chute is a much sexier entrance into the.
Yes. And in the basement, there's like a record player, Victrola. It starts playing by itself. and then he ends up upstairs in
at ridiculous speed.
Yes. But I think that it looks like an old creepy, old dark house, ends up in the great cramped organ loft. You see it's covered in cobwebs and there are the keys there with blood on them, and it starts to play by itself. And then he runs downstairs. Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
No, I was going to say, and what does he see when he tries to flee the organ loft?
I don't remember. No, that's downstairs. He goes downstairs into the living room, and there's
he's fleeing.
Yeah, and he has a beautiful portrait of Mrs. Simmons, and there's a pair of garden shears stuck in her neck, sticking out with blood coming out of it. And that, as a kid, freaked me out. That's still, even watching this, like, that's a cool image.
That was upset, like, because it's not just a bloody pair of shears stuck in the portrait. The blood is actively squirting.
Yeah, pouring out of the portrait, just dripping down.
Yeah, no, it's not that the blood coming out of her neck is part of the portrait.
Yeah,
it's pouring out of the portrait.
Yeah. Neither any of the shears. No, yes, they've
real
been suddenly added.
Yeah, and they weren't there earlier, so that was a great little effect. I liked it.
The thing that was really most key for me in this scene was when he's just kind of trying to bed down. And he's just setting up his sleeping bag. And it's just a close-up of his face, and you just hear an unzipping noise. And I was like, oh.
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 Getting ready
and
for
then he gets
night.
back in, you hear it zip it up, and he's this little Don Nuts burrito. I'm like, oh, look at him. Look at how snuggly he is. Mr. Boob.
Well, I don't know
B-O-O-B.
if either of you was involved with camping or anything as a child. The type of sleeping bag that Don has in this movie is commonly known as a mummy bag.
Ah, there you
so
go.
That fits in with the whole, haunted house theme of the movie.
But is it a Billy mummy bag?
I'm
going to leave now.
Yeah, you get those in the cornfields.
Be right back.
I'll have to check out that website, Stephen, the Donuts Appreciation Society. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's just a Facebook group, and like I said, we just have fun. It's not, if you're looking for like serious Don Knotts fan club, this is not it.
Yeah, I know. Me and Patrick, I think we've done the private eyes before.
Because there's one of those as well.
Oh, okay, a serious one.
There's the actual serious Don Knotts fan club.
Wow.
Like there is one, and they have like 5,000 members.
That makes me happy. There's still people who appreciate Don Knotts.
They're fans. We appreciate it. It's totally different.
Yes.
Totally different. All right, where were we? Okay, so Don Knotts writes the story for the paper about what he experienced, and of course, it's.
Well, Mean Gay number 2 leans over Don Knotts and uses the typewriter to write the story.
Well, okay, and here's the thing. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, when you have, the drunk get hit with a 2x4, he's taking pictures of it. No one thinks to go to the Simmons mansion and take pictures of the portrait with his shears stuck in it. They just are like, oh, he says this, let's print it and forget about the house. They don't go back into the house.
Well, remember, he didn't bring any of his stuff from the opening scene. The only thing he's not toting his camera around anymore.
Right.
The only thing he has with him now is the sleeping bag and a flashlight.
And after the thing, no one goes back. Wait, this is reality intruding. I was like, no one goes back to the house afterwards? Okay, that's fine. Rachel
because
Campbell's.
When Don Knotts speaks, you believe.
You're right. Yeah, Don Knotts.
You do not question him.
Mm-hmm. And that story sells out like wildfire.
So much so they throw him a picnic. They throw him a town picnic party. All of this is bananas.
With printed signs.
He is now the speaker at the Chamber of Commerce picnic luncheon.
He is the rock star that we have always known he was. The fact that he just walks on screen and like the band starts playing and the crowd starts cheering, that is how it should be. Drop to your knees, people. Don Knotts is in the goddamn building.
And once again, there's so many character bits in this part.
And now
Oh, I'm sorry, Steven. Oh, go ahead, Steven.
Now we're coming up to my number 2 choice from the supporting cast,
Yeah.
who has a single line. It's the character Loretta Prine, played by Sandra Gould, who was also in Bewitched, The Brady Bunch, and my favorite credit of hers, All-Star Rockin' Wrestling Saturday Spectacular, where she's credited as Faye Flamboyant.
There you go.
Well, what does she say?
I don't remember, like, she's like,
I don't
I
remember.
get to serve the speaker or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
like that's it. She brings plates of food and she gives them to Luther and to Alma. And she has that one. She's like, I'm feeding the speaker, and then she's gone.
Well, then you also got the homeless guy, where, like the cops checking him and goes, COC, you're good. COC, you're good. COC, and then the homeless guy's there. Wait a minute, you're not COC, and literally this bum, he like throws him out, and everyone's laughing. Just thinking, oh, the homeless are so
No.
funny.
He was trying to get in as a Rotary member.
As a Rotary member, yeah. I'm the Rotary.
I'm Rotary.
And then, of course, Halcyon shows up with her whole team, and they're like in a row, and they touch Luther, and like a vibration goes through all of them.
Damn right it does. Damn right it does. Group climax. Well earned.
And from the moment that the story is published in the local newspaper, up until far beyond this moment in the film, people are, and this is where most of the kids come in, people are asking Luther for his autograph.
Yeah.
It's like they kept children in basements to sacrifice to Don Knotts on this day.
Exactly.
Because we never see it.
You never see him again.
No.
Nope. And there's somewhere in this bit, there's a nice little bit where he goes and he goes out to have a lunch date with Alma.
Oh my God, this scene is comedy gold. Comedy gold. It's before they go on. Something I like about Alma, which I realized the second time through, she makes the first move 3 times.
Oh, yeah, she
She
does.
asks him out twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically, it's like, are you going to put your arm around me or not? I loved that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in that 60s in-your-face feminist kind of way. It was just nicely done.
She knows she has to give him a little bit of nudge. Mm-hmm. So he takes her out to eat, but there's only one chair left at a table that has another guy there. So he's sitting there, and she's sitting down, and they bring him his food, and he's like having to stand up. And then the other guy gets up.
With the girl of his dreams. With the girl. He got a date with the girl of his dreams, and they won't let him sit at the table because some guy's taking 7 hours to eat his fucking Jell-O. You went out to a diner to buy Jell-O. That's the kind of world we're in.
So, of course, and that guy gets up, and Ollie comes in, and Ollie just slides right in. Almost like, that's his seat. And Ollie's just...
Slides right in. Mean gate number 2 just slides right in there.
Yeah.
He's making me. But it's just Don Knotts trying to eat chicken noodle soup while standing up. So he's like 3 feet from the bowl.
Standing up.
It's not laugh out loud
Comedy
funny, but it's
gold.
so stupid.
He winks at work.
And I was reading. I don't know if you saw it on IMDb. Apparently, the scene took all day to shoot because they all kept laughing.
I see that.
The full cast breaking over and over.
Although
and
one
he's
thing
so
I noticed
polite about
in
everything.
the background of the diner scene.
He's trying to tell her just what the big plan is. Like, it's a big secret. Just looks at the guy. He's like, "Are you through with your Jell-O?" Because, like I said, this guy is a TV pro. He's been moving that Jell-O around the bowl for like 17 minutes. You can't eat it.
But another
The
bit
one thing I did notice in the background of this scene, and it's very progressive for 1966, it's an integrated lunch counter.
Ah, that's good.
Yep. There are a couple of people of color sitting down, and there's a woman working at the register.
Yeah.
Put this on my tab. You don't have tab.
No tap. Oh. And they don't oversell the jokes. Like Don Knotts is at a 10, but so everyone else kind of balances them out a little bit. Well, most of the people do.
Well, it also just like when he's at a 10 is usually when the story someone comes along and puts a pin in him.
Yeah.
It just deflates him and makes him look like an idiot. Like in the scene, he's leaving in a huff. Like he's like, and he's like, I'm gonna tell the story, and everyone's gonna be, everyone's gonna think I'm great. He's storming out in a huff. Put that on my tab. You don't have a tab. He has to come back and pay her. Like he was making this grand exit.
Yeah. Well, I love it.
Reminds me of a story. There's a frequent friend of the show, the host of I just completely blanked on the name of their podcast. I'll fix it in post. But Joel is an improv comedian. He does shows at the Pit, and they used to do this horror-based improv show. And I went one night, and the woman sitting next to me had very long hair, and she kept flipping it in my face. The first time I did it, I was like, I'll let it go. The second time I did it, she did it. I got annoyed. The third time, the fifth time, I had enough. So I waited till they were like changing the scenes in the improv, so the lights went out for a second. I was like, I've already told her, like, could you please stop flipping your hair in my face? And she kept doing it. I was like, how dare you? You are so rude. Blah, blah, blah. Storms her up the stairs. Slam. And then I realized my phone had fallen out of my pocket.
Oh, no.
Excuse me, I forgot my phone. Good day.
Good day, Matt.
I forgot this.
Just toss your hair.
Well, the thing is that when they did their shows, they always put little bits of Halloween candy on all the chairs before the show. And they were late, so I ate all of their Halloween candy. So I didn't feel bad.
Oh, she was mad.
No,
she was
you know
mad
what?
at you.
No, I preemptively got justice. Like,
exactly.
And your candy was delicious. And discontinued. Nobody cared. So so Luther's a big celebrity. So what happens?
Oh, but then Mr. Simmons sues him, and it's never, I guess for
and
libel,
the newspaper
libel, and the newspaper libel, which okay.
No, because that's not how libel works. But you know what? Just let it go.
Yeah. Well, and they once mentioned
it's not even personal. Yeah, it's not even that that whatever information was printed was personally damaging to him. It was damaging to the family name. Which I don't think that's the way that works. But no. I'm not from Rachel, Kansas.
No.
Your family name is known for the people who own the murder house, who did the murder in the murder house. So I'm not sure how much worse your family name can get, but let's just go with it. He just wants money. He's just being the bad guy.
Yeah. So I guess the trial is the very next day.
Yes, and nobody has anything
to do
because the whole town is there. No, we have other things to talk about. Like we have to have the elevator scene, which is so good.
Are we just gonna skip over the elevator guy?
No, we're not gonna skip over the elevator guy.
You're right. I forgot all about the elevator guy.
Who clearly is the worst person at their job in town.
Yeah. Yep.
Step down.
Oh, step up. Wait a minute. He can get the elevator either a foot low or 2 feet high. That's either one. You got to pick one of those two.
Now notice Gabe
Because
Darren
the character is the old time elevator operator who actually used to have to make it go up and down with a lever, I guess you would call that. And this guy is terrible at his job. Because they're going to meet about the summons for the libel suit, like
the Simmons summons
in Simmons' hotel room.
The Simmons summons.
Like not in a lawyer's office. They're just going to meet in a hotel room.
No, and I also noticed that Gay Darren had no problem getting in and out of the elevator that was not lined up with the floor properly because he's used to getting his legs really high up. Good for her.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, I was for a while I was like, wait, why are they being sued? Because it's just so. It's like mentioned in passing.
Let it go.
Yeah,
Let it go.
Yep.
You said my house is haunted. Oh, and it's not even like you said my house is haunted. I won't be able to sell it. He's tearing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It has to forward the drama along. It's a set. Just the movie also doesn't give you time to think about anything either, which is
No,
good.
it's a fast-moving movie. It's not slow.
No.
That is a good thing. Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Nothing here is normal. Like, this town is completely ridiculous. Everybody in it is ridiculous. So the fact that it's a ridiculous lawsuit, fine. It doesn't matter because it's high drama camp. Hold on a second. There was something that was also really. Oh, my favorite part of the hotel movie was when Mr. Simmons got up and Don Knotts' face and says, "Who do you think you are?" And I said, "That's fucking Don Knotts.
Nice.
He's the coolest."
He's the coolest.
Yeah, exactly. That's who he is. Don't you forget it, ma'am. Baldy, who's not the chief.
Yep. Because then after this is when.
But you're right, though, Patrick. It is the trial is the single biggest event that's happened in Rachel, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
In God knows who long.
Since the murder. Since the murder house. Because that's all anybody talks about is either the murder or this. That's all that's ever happened.
But before the trial, though, you had the date with Alma and the porch.
Oh, right.
Which I thought was sweet. And this is where Alma shows some of her own age.
It's a very sweet scene.
I loved all that, but of course it starts off really hot because he comes out like, "Man, I really love that pounded steak." I'm like, "Girl, it's like your mom knows how to put out a pounded steak." I'm like, "A what now? A what now?"
Well, at one point Alma says, "I don't date Ollie as much as the town thinks I do," which I liked. And she just says it in a matter-of-fact way, like, "Oh, town doesn't date as much as they think they do."
Oh, well,
so she's aware.
Yeah, well, he says at one point he's like, Don Knotts' sister was like, I'm playing the audio for this. Goes, "So you and Ollie?" And she's like, "No, he's gay." Why am I the only person who seems to know this?
Why do you think he works in a newspaper?
I mean,
the newspaper guy is gay.
I don't think that's in
You
the
don't owe me,
screenplay,
Ollie.
but it is
You're
clearly
gay.
implied.
Yeah. You are
The
gay.
only criticism I have with the whole movie is that I wish they had made Don Knotts like. Why is she like Don Knotts? I mean, he's not. I wish they'd given him at least one moment of backbone or something where you can see what she sees in him, or something of bravery. Because I don't know. That's the only thing is that
I beg to differ. I
Well,
think
she doesn't see it, but he does tell off Simmons in the hotel room.
Yeah,
She doesn't see that, you know.
He's a genuinely nice guy, and he's nervous, and he's like, she knows. Oh, in that relationship, she'll be in charge.
Yeah, she will. She does that.
But he's going to. He knows he respects the ground that she walks on in a normal kind of way.
Yes. When she's
He treats her like a human being and treats her with respect, and that you don't see a lot of that in this movie.
And I think
most of the interactions with Alma are with Ollie, so she's being treated like garbage. And
or just he's very dismissive of her. But she has a thankless role where she has to be in love with Don Knotts, but she actually comes across really well in this movie. Like, I like her. Like, she adds a lot to the role.
He's the only man in town in her age range that's not a homosexual.
Yep. But she's very likable. I mean, she manages to convey a lot with very little dialogue.
No, I love this whole scene on the porch. It's adorable. It's very, very sweet. And he's doing that nervous guy thing. He just keeps starting the same. He just never gets to asking around. Just keep asking around things. We're plenty of audio for this, and it'd be perfect. And also, we get to learn that he knows karate.
Oh God.
That he learned in a correspondence course.
Well, I was like, he's also learning to be a journalist in correspondence
class. That is the
class.
best part of that.
My entire body is a weapon. I'm like, I know, baby. We all know. We know. Look at you.
The fact that he learned karate via correspondence course is the best part of him knowing karate.
We lost Train. Train. We'll just continue.
Sorry. I'm back. I'm sorry.
We know the idea of sitting on the porch, getting Don Knotts putting your arm around her was very exciting for you, Trey. You needed a moment.
My body's a weapon.
I need a fan. All right.
Well, doesn't he say he's also learned to be a journalist through correspondence course as well?
Yeah. The thing is with the karate correspondence course, I was picturing those like at-home dance lessons that they had in the 70s, where you put the footprints on the floor.
Yes.
That's us picture with karate, but with handprints on a body.
Footprints and arrows. Yeah.
Exactly. What I loved about this whole trial scene, this is where it turns into To Kill a Mockingbird, but it's also the Crucible. Because the entire psychic society are like the girls. Like when Mr. Simmons walks into the courtroom and they all hiss at him.
Oh God! It's like there's hissing. This is
That's so great. And then when Luther walks through, they do all the vibrations again. Woo! And there's like down a line, just.
Dalo Galo Solomon.
And it's right before the courtroom. So it's on the steps of the courthouse where Alma finally, gives Ollie his walking papers.
Yeah, because he
says, and it's like, you don't own me, Ollie.
You're gay.
Yeah, you're gay.
And he is flabbergasted that anyone would have the gall to speak to him this way. And it's at that moment that he decides that that if Simmons doesn't take Luther down, he's gonna.
But like, he's kind of written out of the movie after this part. Like, he goes up to Luther and goes, "I don't care if it costs me my job. I hope you go down in flames, because if Simmons wins, they're going to lose the newspaper." And that's the last we see of Ollie.
Dramatic queen, scorched earth.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. But one of the things I want to talk about in this court scene is that one of the witnesses is his old teacher. And the old teacher is played by
his third grade teacher. Yes.
Third grade teacher is played by. Oh shit! Where is she? Ellen Cornby. Ellen Cornby was Grandma Walton.
Oh.
And also famously a real life lesbian.
Ah, there you go.
Her and Grandma and Grandpa Walton were both gay.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's got
talks behind the scenes.
Yeah. Good night, John Boy.
And her entire testimony.
I'm trying to find
her entire testimony during this is just
I know.
Chef's kiss.
Because the damning evidence is that 30 years ago, as a little boy, he kind of inflated the truth, which that's just
No. We can't start there.
No,
30 years ago.
Hold on. The key thing is when they ask him to describe Luther Hicks, she goes, he's painfully thin and keyed up.
Painfully thin and keyed up. That's the name of my autobiography, Painfully Thin and Keyed Up.
The most important thing about her testimony for me was her describing the way he used to eat his sandwiches.
Oh, yes.
Yes, clearly that is this. Because he didn't like to eat the crusts on his sandwich, but not in the way that other people
he'd eat it from the inside out.
Which is the sexiest thing I've ever heard.
How do you do that?
That's why I really love Don. Don will eat it from the inside out. It's in the script. Stop looking at me like that.
And this is
he ate his sandwich. He didn't like the crust of his sandwiches, and his shoes were always falling off
because they were my brother's shoes.
Well, there are reasonable explanations for both of those, and they're brought up in the courtroom drama.
That's the biggest turn on now is go to a lady and go, "I'm going to eat you the way donuts eat sandwiches from the inside out.
I'm going to leave
your
inside
out." Well, and that he had like a radio feeling that he said he got messages from Admiral Byrd.
Oh yeah, to impress Mary Jane Petrucci.
And it's so sweet that she tells that, and he looks at it at I guess the lawyer and goes, "I just wanted her to like me," and I was like, "Oh, nuts! Yeah. I like you."
Yeah. And the thing that we haven't mentioned throughout the movie, there's a recurring line.
Attaboy, Luther.
I don't know what actor that was. Because I don't think he was on screen saying it at any point.
But any public gathering.
But I loved it.
We saw
every
at
time.
the Chamber of Commerce thing where like the mayor's out. Attaboy, mayor. Attaboy.
According to Wikipedia, that was Andy Griffith's contribution to the script. I said that is such an Andy Griffith joke.
That it works the whole
100%
movie.
Andy Griffith joke.
Yep.
And classical, what do they call it? I can't think of the comedy. The French comedy where it's all funny because it just keeps repeating itself. Like I forgot what it's called. But yeah, it's only funny because it keeps repeating.
Yeah.
It's in weird circumstances.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things in comedy where it's like, okay, it's funny. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny. But you push through it and get back to come around the circle back to the funny.
Just when you forget it is when they bring it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I also love that during this whole dramatic, which is long, this is a long trial scene, the whole town is on his side.
Yes. Which is nice.
Except the villain and the mean game.
Yeah. And you have the great judge who's just, where's my water? Can't start without the water or the Bible.
The thing is, what I love with all these character players is that you can tell that this was the character they played in everything.
Yeah.
That's why they're all so good.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have this one character and they've got it down to a science. But also, my second favorite character was in the scene.
Who is it?
Mr. Gaylord Patty.
Who is he?
He was the other witness that got. First of all, it's Gaylord Patty.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Me. That's me. I'm Gaylord Patty. That's me.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. It's like,
And what was the reason? Who was he that?
Oh, no,
I forget what position he held that he was called as a
because
witness.
he had heard the organ playing the nights before from his home.
Right.
And the screaming, and then he heard a thud, and they said, "You're also part of the UFO Society." Well, yes, I am. And where'd you have the last meeting? Well, on Mars. And just everything he says with the same tone and the same amount of conviction. And of course, once he says, "Oh, we held it on Mars," boop, okay, he's gone.
Yeah. But
right, we've essentially almost sunk the defense here.
And then I forgot what it was. The judge is like, "Let's go there tonight. Let's go to the house tonight and see it." Which I'm like, how the fuck?
The entire everybody's going. The entire town's
all
going.
6,000 residents of Richmond are going to this house at midnight.
Well, that's what I was like, Patrick. I was like, how does the law work in Rachel, Kansas?
Let it happen. It happens like normal. It's TV rules. It's the rules of the universal backlot. It's like Americatown, Trey.
You're right.
Let it happen.
Because at some point, we've got to stop it, and then tonight we're going to meet in front of the house at 11:30 and go inside.
This also had one of my favorite moments, and it came from an extra.
What was it?
They all rally. Okay, first of all, Don Knotts' speech in front of the house is so great. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to watch while I duplicate my movements. I'm like, oh, yeah, hot.
Let's go, Don.
You might see some frightening things, but don't panic. You're in no real personal harm. And then he marches in, but there's an extra. One of the psychic society reaches out to touch him just as he's leaving, and then it gets the very vibration, he's too divine to touch.
Yeah.
And floats back into the ground. That's exactly the way you try to touch Don Knotts. You try to do it and then you just don't.
Yep, you can't.
You're not worthy. You are not worthy.
You can't handle the knots.
You can't. Do not be touching him without consent. Don Knotts. And also, I just want to say, of course, we go through and nothing works. Because there was a whole secret passage. He's trying to show.
Well, first of all, there's one person who's not directly, who is a spectator in the courtroom, who's allowed to go into the house, and it's Alma.
Yeah.
Because she's with Dom.
Right.
She's not part of the trial, officially part of the trial at all.
She's his +1, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So she's allowed to go into the
I like
house.
The hot girl,
By this point,
the one hot
Luther has
under
enough
40 girl
power
can go
in
wherever
the
the hell she
town.
wants whenever she
Yep.
wants.
Yep.
Luther has the power by this point in the film in town to be like, no, she's with me.
She's with me. And they go in the house, and it pretty much immediately you see the portrait, and nothing's the knives aren't there, or the shears aren't there,
And there's not even a mark. There's not a hole in the portrait.
She's aren't there, no blood, nothing. It's a pristine portrait.
And there was a segment where there was like a bookcase opens up to a hidden staircase, and that doesn't work.
And I took a book and I threw it. Bam!
Bam!
No. I took a book and I threw it. Bam!
Bam!
Bam! Bam! Just throwing books in bookcase and nothing's happening. So nothing's working. And we go up to the organ loft. And I just want to say that the organ's inability to perform on command is not a reflection on Don Knotts or his virility.
No.
I think the organ had performance anxiety being in the presence of a love god.
Well, it wasn't used to being watched.
It was not by that many people.
Plus the fact that there were so many people there.
Don Knotts alone is okay, but you got a crowd watching you. All of a sudden, the whole thing's changing. Yeah, so nothing happens, but yeah, they're all upstairs in the organ loft, and Alma's downstairs, and it's nice that she still believes Don Knotts, and she's like checking the bookcase.
She's still trying to figure out the bookcase,
and then like there's like a fireplace nearby.
Oh. Well, no, she does go. She goes upstairs, and then while everyone's still in the organ loft, she goes back down. No, I'm going to figure out how this bookcase works.
I did too, because it took her out of the realm that she's just the girl to be loved.
Yeah.
That she's going to be the smart one who solves this.
Right.
Yeah.
And she finds there's like a little lever next to the fireplace, and she turns it, and sure enough, it opens up. And she goes into the bookshelf, but then
I just want to say, Steven, remember in my old house that staircase that was in my kitchen?
Oh yeah,
the grand staircase out front, and then there was that other the maid staircase. When we first moved in, it was a secret passage like that.
Oh wow!
For the servant,
cool.
I lived in an ancient house. But my parents ripped it out. I'm like, "Are you crazy? We had a secret passage, and we didn't use it."
That sucks.
And yes, I know I said secret passage, but I said that during the Private Eyes episode, and I also said it again by mistake during the Curse of the Living Corpse episode that we had sneaker passages. So now I've coined a phrase, and I'm keeping it forever, using the phrase 3 times today.
That's what that is now. Yeah,
they're for sneaking. They're specifically for sneaking. Like, you'd have a secret passage where you can hide things, but this is one for sneaking. So it's a sneaker passage. Okay, just let's move on. Let's move on. None of this solution makes any sense.
No.
I'll probably just play
because
the audio.
the whole concept of let's go see what actually happens in the house at midnight completely fails, and the defense is wrecked. The defense against this lawsuit is wrecked because nothing happens. So everybody leaves
in disgust,
and Don and Luther leaves without knowing where Alma is.
Yeah, he's got things on his mind.
It's been a rough night. He probably thinks she just left already. He probably thinks he already disappointed her, and she just snuck out. I mean, I'm sure that's
Well, yeah. I mean, he probably thought that she left with everybody else.
As he's leaving, you hear the organ start to play, and that was a great little bit.
Yes,
that was cool. And he goes upstairs and runs upstairs, and you see someone at the organ, hunched over. You don't see their face. They're playing away.
Oh, I knew from his silhouette who it was. I was like,
what?
Yeah,
I can't believe it's the bad guy.
He turns around, and it's the janitor.
Oh, sorry, you're right. It's the janitor.
It's Kelsey.
Right? The janitor.
Yeah. Mr. Kelsey. Iago's. Who's done all of it?
Everything from here to the end of the film makes less sense than anything else.
Scooby-Doo makes more sense than all this.
It's 100% Scooby-Doo logic. Just gotta let it wash over you. Because yes, he's playing the organ, and yes, he's the one who stabbed the portrait, and yes, he did all the scary ghosty stuff, but he's not the villain.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Because then you hear Alma scream.
Yeah.
Well, but why was he not in the room the first night that Luther was there playing the organ? It was playing itself? Because there's a tuning keyboard downstairs.
Okay, sure. Sure. And
that's
All
how
right.
organ lofts work, okay?
and they wouldn't let him in that night.
I'm sorry, I wasn't fortunate enough to...
Well, and then this
I
night
don't
they
think-
wouldn't let him in the house because he's not part of the.
I don't know if you remember, Stephen, but we had an organ in my house as well.
Did it have a tuning?
No,
Oh, I know.
It was one of those 70s organs that my parents
Oh.
thought were cool for them. They have for the swing.
Yeah, it was like a Wurlitzer. It was like...
Yes, for the swinging sex parties. Ugh. But yeah, we didn't have a tuning pedal. But yeah, but no, we had an organ and we had a sneaker passage. So I pretty much lived. This is like an autobiography of this movie. Totally. But no, it's a whole convoluted thing that it was that the murderer. Okay, who's the murderer?
It's Mr. Simmons.
Mr. Simmons. Yeah, Mr. Simmons killed his mother and his father.
The nephew
20
who
years
now
ago.
owns the house.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. Yes, the nephew.
And he has got Alma hostage.
Yes.
And he's the one who killed Mrs. and Mr. Simmons, and his alibi was he wasn't anywhere near them when really the secret passage debunks his alibi.
Yeah.
And the gardener knew this but couldn't tell anyone because he killed Mrs. Simmons with a gardener's shears. So the gardener took the shears and hid them but couldn't tell anyone anything.
Right, because that would have been a setup
Yeah.
way back 20 years ago.
But now that he's getting ready to demolish the
Framed out.
house, he wants to like trick Mr. Simmons. I don't know. It happens.
He's had a grudge for 20 years as an opportunity to work it out. Oh, he Iago'd the shit out of it. Good for you. It doesn't have to make sense to us. Doesn't matter. It's his problem. Everything came out okay. I'm good. Never makes any sense. But karate saves the day. That made me very happy.
Well, this is so great though. Is that okay? So Alma and Mr. Simmons are in the secret passage, which goes from the organ loft to downstairs. So they're being confronted by Don Knotts and the janitor, and the janitor says, "Go quick, go downstairs the other way and head him off the pass."
Says quite loudly, I
and
might
Don
add.
Knotts takes off, and Mr. Simmons doesn't give a damn. He's got almost like a knife to her throat or something. So Luther goes down, opens the secret passage, and sees right there Mr. Simmons and Alma, and Mr. Simmons has no clue, and he starts like karate chop him. Once again, Mr. Simmons doesn't even have a clue that he's being hit on the back.
Nope. No.
Not at all. Until
So Luther just decides to like run into him, like a full on football gridiron tackle.
and it works.
Because the hands weren't enough. His whole body is a weapon. We've heard that 3 times, and this is the payoff.
Yep. Not just
And
his
oh boy,
hand.
is it. Man, when you get hit with Don Knotts, you feel it all through you. That'll take you down.
You're down for the count.
And then, very much in the Scooby-Doo vein, they've now got the
My
villain
chair with
tied to a
ropes.
chair
It's so great.
with like 2 strands of rope.
Because all the people who came to show up for this big event, like the whole town's there except the police force.
Yeah. You're right. He doesn't show up.
Well,
And
the other police is probably
Who
still
were
working.
there? Who were there at the beginning of that scene? They were directing traffic outside the murder house at the beginning
well,
of
the
this
judge is
whole
there,
sequence.
So you skip the police and go straight to the judge. We don't need evidence.
It's best they're not there so they can kill Mr. Simmons and just have their own vigilante justice.
That's the next picnic.
Which will make the movie Oklahoma, the end of Oklahoma. So, well, this never happened. We don't know how he died. He just died. He was bad, so it's okay. Let's sing.
And then we cut to the last scene of the movie immediately.
We cut directly from that moment to Luther and Alma's wedding.
Which was a very modest wedding. I liked. She had a nice, simple little white dress
She
on.
looked adorable.
She looked great.
It's by getting married by the judge. We're not even in church.
Attaboy, Luther! One more attaboy.
There'll be one more on the wedding night, but that was we can't show that yet.
Attaboy, Alma!
Where is that coming from?
But then as they get married, as they leave, you hear the organ start to play. and then it plays into the theme
It starts to
song.
play your one of your standard wedding exit
Yeah.
pieces of music, and then it morphs
Oh, which by the way,
into
we haven't talked
the
about.
creepy theme.
So the organ music is the music's theme,
Theme.
just on the organ. So you hear this song,
Yeah.
as the score, but the organ plays the same score whenever it plays, and then at the very end, you've got the wedding march to the movie's theme. They all look, and it's playing by itself, and the movie ends.
And no one has noticed that there's no organist for this whole ceremony, but that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. Don Knotts is in the room. All eyes should be on him. This is an adorable, silly little movie. It's
It is.
harmless. It's sweet. It's just one big smile from start to finish.
Yes.
It is adorable. I cannot
And
argue
watching as
that.
an adult, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much. I thought it would be mostly nostalgia, and it fairly holds up for the most part.
Yes, because Trey and I, we recently, well, not recently, but in the semi-recent past, we covered The Private Eyes, and that movie
Yes.
has not held up.
No, it's got good bits, but yeah, if it Ghost Chicken, like it was a good fast 90 minutes. It was over before I knew it.
But you know, like you're right, Patrick. Like these are these old school character actors that have played these characters forever, and they're good at it, and every last one of them is hitting
Yes.
every mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like that. I don't, it didn't have to rest on I'm Don Knotts. He just really, like everyone else, contributed as well. This was very much like the IMDb for this is insane. Like there's a lot of people in this movie.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
a low budget movie.
And there's
It's
so many
good.
there's so many people with great bits who are great character actors who aren't even listed in the credits, which is amazing. Like one of my other favorite characters is the cop at the picnic. Get out of here! Get out of here! You know that guy that had one character, like the quasi-gay cop,
Yeah.
on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Like I know I've seen him before playing this exact role, but it was just nice to see all these people. It's a nice homey feel to this movie, and maybe that's just because we're Gen X and we grew up on these old sitcoms.
Yes.
Maybe these younger kids wouldn't get it, but
Well, I mean, funny is funny no matter what time it is, and Don Knotts is funny. He's charming. Even now, I mean, he's just the one line where he's like, "Why don't you go run down an alley and yell fish?" or some just these little sayings. But he sells it. I mean, he's a very light touch. Everyone in this has a great light touch.
yes.
I mean, I don't really remember this particular film from growing up. Like the ones that were the Don Knotts stuff that was right in my wheelhouse when I was growing up was Apple Dumpling Gang.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, why my parents would let me watch Three's Company during, during its like initial TV run. I'm like, why did you let me watch that when I was 7?
Don't question. Thank them. Thank them. They knew how to raise you right, Steven. They knew how to raise you right. The thing in my wheelhouse was for the Don Knotts movies, I remember The Incredible Mr. Limpet being on all the time on TV. That I saw a million times. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so I don't know how that held up. But the thing is, and this movie was a big hit too. It was the #1 movie, so good for them.
Of the year, or
The week that it opened, but
okay, good. That's good.
It made like over $1 million. It's
But even
opening
so,
weekend in 1966, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a bankable star. He was just from Andy Griffith.
Huh.
So
Well, I remember that this movie apparently was saying was that the "attaboy," it started a trend of people yelling out "attaboy" and a thing during speeches, and even the Farley brothers, I think, put that in Kingpin as a reference to this.
nice.
Yeah, because this was playing on TV all the time as a kid, so I saw this so many times up until I was like 8 or 9.
I think I seem to remember that it would play on TV, but my brother wouldn't watch it. So if he wasn't watching it, I didn't get to watch it. This was not cool enough for him. But what I like about it is that it's not a kids movie,
No.
but it's okay for kids. Like it's not for children. It's not children's entertainment like The Incredible Mr.
it
Limpet.
wasn't made for kids, but it was completely acceptable.
This
to
is a
let your
good
kids
gateway
watch
horror
this.
movie. Like that's what it was for me. It was a good gateway horror movie because it is a little bit creepy. I mean, the sheer stuck in the portrait with the blood coming down, like that's straight out of like Roger Corman, Vincent Price. Like that
100%.
was
100%. And the fact
even
that it's
watching it now,
squirting.
ooh.
The
Yeah,
fact that it's squirting is upsetting.
Yeah.
Although when Don Knotts is around, I also squirt, but that's not the point right now. One of my other favorite lines I forgot to touch on. It's one of the old ladies in the boarding house when she's recalling the night of the murder. And where's the line? It's very important. 85 pages of notes, yeah. And I went up the stairs, and there it was, this massive organ. And she looked at Don Knotts. I'm like, yeah, we know. We know.
Well, his room was clearly upstairs at the boarding house.
Well, just the lines. Calm, do murder and calm go together? Calm and murder? He's just, I love him in this movie. He's so funny. Well, also, the speech he gives at the Chamber of Commerce is so terrible. He just gets up there and freezes courage.
It's
that whole thing
it's
was
one moment.
Go.
It's the one moment in the movie that's uncomfortable as an audience member, because they're like, "Ooh, this is bad."
Yeah,
but that's what I was saying before.
But it works in the context of this film.
Exactly. That scene in particular, that speech, is 100% his nervous man character that made him popular before Andy Griffith. As the nervous weatherman and stuff. I'll show you.
I can see that.
It's exactly this. Like at this, there's like he does like one, like it's a commercial for pills to help you relax, and it's just.
Well, I mean, it's younger actors. Y'all should be able to know this, but like they say, it's hard to play dumb. I think it's hard to play drunk. It's hard to play that nervous and that bad of a speech, of giving a speech. Like that can't be easy to be that bad without being comical, because it's painful to watch, and he does a really good job.
Well,
it's cringe.
Because clearly, if you're getting a role like that, like you're an actor and you are comfortable having people watch you. You know,
and just for him to be that awkward, I was like, that's good acting.
And the other thing was that the screenwriters worked with him on Andy Griffith. They were the Andy Griffith screenwriters, so they know how to write for this guy.
And he's not playing that bit for a laugh. He's not over exaggerating. I mean, he's just bad, but it's not like comically bad. It is just bad.
No, it's not. It's not what a lot of actors would choose to do with that scene.
Exactly.
And what I love, as cringe as it is, the audience doesn't care. They're like, yeah, Bachelor.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not turning into a shtick.
They're all having their manifestations and vibrations. And pie.
And then, like, the kids still want Luther's autograph.
Well, when you work with words are your work. It just, I could sit there and quote this movie all day.
And then poor thing. I guess after Don Knotts and Alma get married, they have to leave town. Come back in 20 years. You can live here again.
Yeah, exactly. Too young. You're too young.
Go have kids somewhere else.
And then when you're old, come back here. This is a retirement community. Rachel, Kansas, we don't stand for any pre-menopausal women who are married.
No, because not even Bon and me will get those kids names.
So the question I have is, since bald bad guy who's not Chief from Get Smart is clearly in prison by the end of this movie, who gets the house?
The psychic group is going to make it their headquarters. Halcyon's going to end up with that house. Halcyon's ending up with that house.
I think it's cute that you think that he's in prison now. I didn't see him get arrested. I didn't see a trial. I think he just disappeared.
Yeah, they disappeared him.
And her husband owns the bank, so the bank owns the house.
Yes,
it's her house now.
That's why I was saying it's going to end up as the occult society's headquarters.
Tapioca for everyone.
Yeah, Halcyon's going to get her way.
Damn right. And you don't fuck with her or her flower pot hats. There's so many flower pot hats in this movie. They're terrifying. All right, so boys, I think we've done this movie.
Yes.
Okay, so Steven, what's going on with you before we wrap up? Where can people find out more about you, and do you have any shows that are going on?
I actually do not. I don't have anything going on probably till Christmas Carol again, and that won't start up until
Christmas break.
November.
Well, who knows? Jeff may have you start festooning early. You never know with Jeff Sanzel. But, well, you mentioned before we started a podcast, your comedy podcast that people can hear you on.
Yes, it's called How to Fall in Love the Hard Way. And if you just, it is nowhere near, well, it is. It is very sexual in a much, much different way than The Ghost of Mrs. Chicken was.
Well, understand, but because
you can just search that.
John not show up to work on it, because if he didn't, then there's you cannot possibly achieve that level of raw sexuality.
No. No, he did not.
No, but okay. Well, it just did. Okay, good. So that's fine. Yeah.
But you can just search that up on wherever you get your podcasts, and it'll come up.
How to Fall in Love the Hard Way.
Yeah, it's up. Yes. And I think at least up to episode 3 is out, possibly 4. But again, the important episodes are 2 and 10.
2 and 10. Those are the ones you're in.
No particular reason. Excellent. So, Trey, what's going on with you? Where can people find it? Well, they know all about you, but tell them anyway.
Oh, well, I'm on Damn You, Uncle Lewis, with you, me, and the wonderful Maya Murphy.
Oh, it's that stupid. What goes on over there?
We talk about the wonderful TV show Friday the 13th, the series, and everything Roby.
Yes, we do.
Nikki, Jack.
Yes, we do. And
actually, I'll say on that podcast, when we're done, we always come up with alternate castings of who we cast as characters. I have an alternate casting for this movie.
Go on.
For Halcyon, I was getting strong Angela Lansbury in Death on the Nile vibes.
100%. 100%. Give Mrs. Maxwell a cocktail instead of some tapioca. You got 100%.
Yeah. Just Salome made me think of Salome.
Salome Otterborn. Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this crazy afternoon. Thank you for celebrating my birthday with me. And let's hope that for my birthday this year, it's finally the Knots Landing that we've been praying for.
Attaboy, Patrick.
Attaboy, Trey. Attaboy, Steven.
Attaboy, Steven.
Get off my show. We're out.
Pleasure to meet you, Steven.
That was fun. All right, everybody hold on a second. Make sure everything uploads properly. La, 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 la. Especially when I get a little wonky because Trey disappeared for a second and get weird.
I saw the message. There it is. Successfully uploaded.
That's yours, Steven. And it's mine. Okay, great. We are good. This will be out in May.
All right.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
Gentlemen, I'm just going to add this apropos of nothing. If you haven't seen this already, a friend turned me on to this last week. There's a show which is available on Prime Video for free called Beyond Belief, hosted by Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yes.
And it is the worst. Like, believe it or not, is this true story true or not?
I'll have to watch it.
Thing I've ever seen.
Really campy?
Because it is terrible, and they never say this was true. Everything that is in the true, hold on, I got to come back with the in the true vein is they never say no, this happened. It's inspired by a true story.
Inspired by.
Oh my Lord, it's terrible.
I'll have to watch it.
And I can only imagine, like, based on what he looks like during this, his hairdo, the beard, it's got to be contemporary with Next Generation.
Oh.
Like, Jonathan Frakes, why are you doing this?
Need that money. The card wasn't out yet.
I'm sure if they got him during Next Generation, then he was extremely expensive. That probably the show whole budget was to get him.
Because it very much looks like 90s. The whole vibe of the whole Beyond Belief show is 90s, which is like like he was known at that point, you know?
I'll have to check that out.
But it's awful. It's like 45-minute episodes. And the recreations, because there's like 5 stories an episode, and then you get to the
okay.
end,
Oh,
they're
wow.
like, this one's true, this one's, this is one we made up. And the recreation's terrible. They're hilariously terrible. And there are some that they are claiming are inspired by a true story. Like, who could have possibly told this story? Because, like, the only person in this story that has all the information is dead by the end of the story.
I want to do an episode on the Simmons murder mansion. As for Luther, they cast like a strapping, hunky, like Ryan Reynolds type actor.
But yeah, we were watching a bunch of that last night. Just and we were just
Man.
like, we were just hanging out, a
gotta
few of
watch
us,
that.
and we put it on, and it's terrible. It's like, if you thought like Unsolved Mysteries was bad back in the day, this is worse.
Check it out.
Have you? Oh gosh, I can't think of any, but I'll have to send it to. Have you seen? It's a sci-fi series from the '70s, British sci-fi series. Something in Steel,
Oh, Sapphire and Steel
Sapphire and Steel,
with
Joanne-
Joanna Lumley.
No,
Yeah.
It's alternately brilliant and ridiculous all at the same time. Well, it's got that 70s Doctor Who vibe, but you're like, man, you are both brilliant actors and you are making gold out of absolute shit dialogue. No budget. But it's worth a watch. It's very funny.
Kind of like, have you all seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
The broccoli is an AIDS metaphor.
Yeah. It's a parody of those shows from British, but it's a comedy. It's very funny.
the only really
Yeah, it's 6 episodes on Garth Marenghi's 6 episodes on Peacock right now for free, and it's worth
so
your
good.
time. Worth your time.
So funny.
So
if you
ridiculous.
watch What We Do in the Shadows, a TV show, one of the actors from that, Matt Berry, is in Garth Marenghi.
okay.
And it's supposed to look like the old 70s British sci-fi shows, but it's a parody of it. Came out like in the early 2000s. Really funny.
The world's most popular horror author, the series that he came out with that was too scandalous
Scary.
to ever replay, and it's all shit. It's all shit.
He just wrote a book called Terror Tome. That's the audiobook also with the same guy. It's so funny.
Okay, cool. I have to go eat lunch now before I fall down.
Gotta
All
get
right.
my hair cut.
Take care, boys. Stay well.
Take care.
All right.
It's a fun time.
Bye. Good times.